world. My name is Max Stein, and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck. I really love video games.
And my name is Raph. I also love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Warning, the Game Treasure Podcast is not for children or anyone with a brain for that matter. And today, we are joined by a very special guest. Very special guest, would you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Jisun Hughes. My artist name is RnJi, spelled RnJi. I'm a disabled vet, originally from Hinesville, Georgia. I moved to Florida in about 2016. I'm also a former U.S. Army musician, and I served from August of 2009 to April of 2016.
Thank you for your service.
Gnarly.
Jisun is a dear friend of ours, a Discord mate of ours, and someone who I've seen play music live, and she is very good at playing music. And today she's on the show.
Fest stage, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Sick AF. So Jisun is here not just for fun, but she has a new album coming out later this year. So we're going to talk to her about that. And a little spoilers, it has something to do with the Sega Genesis, because you could tell by the title of this episode, it's another video game music one. In their last episode, Jisun, I don't know if you heard, but we explained how music got into video games in the first place.
Oh,
That
wow.
was step
Okay.
one of going into music. So now
cool.
today we've picked a particular console that is relevant to Jisun's album, but I digress. We'll get more into that later, because now it is time to go back in time with RetroGameTreasure.com and the Megabuck to the Retro Zone. Buck, please send us.
Let's go back in time. Pick this one for a couple reasons.
Oh,
One, because Jisun's here and I know she's gonna love it. Two, because I know Mac has been dying to use this soundbite ever since we started this podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I'm diving into some Sega OG with the beat 'em up, Altered Beast.
Oh, I almost
Oh,
knew what it
yes.
was going to be before you even said it. Holy hell, that's amazing.
Is this the
That's a
first
good
one?
This is the best one.
Fantastic. We didn't have this as a kid, did we?
No, I don't believe. No, we did not have Altered Beast. So I love doing this episode that we're doing about video game music for the Genesis as well. But most importantly, I loved my Sega CD, but I really loved my SNES more than the Genesis. I didn't play as much Genesis, and if it was a lot more of the normal stuff like Sonic, and then some of the more kiddie stuff like Tasmania and things like those. All pretty great games, but we didn't dive into the really greatness that was the Genesis. And Altered Beast, holy crap.
So explain what Altered Beast is to anyone who hasn't played it.
Altered Beast is like one of the granddaddy of the side-scrolling beat-em-ups. And
It's true.
You literally spawn in as like, isn't it like a Greek guy? Jisun probably knows a bit about this game too, just because it's a great Genesis throwback. But it's like Greek gods summons, the dude that's fighting demons and whatnot, and then gets turned into a werewolf and lizard man and other creatures as you go from left to right and punch things.
It has that famous voice line, "Rise from your grave."
I know you've been dying
Yeah.
since we started this podcast because you listened to so much last podcast on the left. You're like, but we're a video game podcast. We can own that one too.
Absolutely.
Ironically enough, I have not played much Altered Beast either. What I will
fair.
say about it is the pixel for the bear is it's the toe pointing for
It's
me.
the transformation where they go.
His kung fu stance where he's standing like this with his pointed toe. Brilliant stuff.
Love it.
It's
Wait for the
funny.
jump kick.
I never like thought of this. It is a beat 'em up. I never thought of
Absolutely.
it that
Oh,
way.
absolutely,
Yeah, but it is absolutely. Yeah.
I'm more of a Golden Axe guy myself.
A little more traditional beat 'em up with being able to change planes, go up and down and whatnot, not just straight left to right. But it was the originally arcade game, obviously, and it was one of the Mac daddies. I mean, it's one of the pretty, if not close to. I didn't double check if it was a launch title or not for the Genesis. It would have been close because I believe it was also on the Master System before the Genesis. So
Altered Beast, the crouching tiger punching out fireballs at this crocodile with a fireball in his tummy. So profile preferences for this one. You just got to own a Sega Genesis and like beat 'em ups.
Beat 'em ups, pretty much.
No blood, so you don't got to worry about the rated M for mature. People blow up and turn into explosions mostly.
It was
when you punch
pre-ESRB, but you know how that is. Like, we kind of take it into consideration ourselves. If it was violent, and it probably would have been M for mature if it came out after the ESRB, then we still kind of rate it as M for mature. But this is Altered Beast is fine. It's good
for
stuff.
an arcade port. It's pretty dang good, I'll say.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
Altered Beast. Go to www.retrogametreasure.com and you can put Altered Beast on your wish list if you own a Sega Genesis to ensure that Buck keeps an eye out. He can stash it in there for you. What are you guys laughing at?
I'm sorry, I just saw the bear with the pointed foot, and it was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen, dude. He's just like in like this wing chun pose.
I'm sorry, but of all the animals to pick, do you think the bear would stand that way? Are you sure about that? I don't think so.
Seems kind of clunky. You know, I don't know if that would go over well.
Right. You got like the wolf. He's like this, like put him up. Okay. And if there was a bird, maybe a bird would stand like that. But a bear, I think, would be like this. He'd be like this.
Put the bear like, exactly.
If I invent a time machine, I'm going back and I'm fixing Altered Beast.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the office where the sprite maker was and be like, hey, Mr. Sprite Man.
Just one suggestion.
He'll be like, listen, I'm just porting shit over from other games. I'm not making any of this. Right. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into the meat of our episode, which ties in pretty nicely with Buck's Sega Genesis pick here. We will be right back.
Rise from your grave.
Speaking of Sega Genesis, Jisun, let's talk about your upcoming album. So you already told us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, a little bit about your past. I just have some general questions I wanted to throw your way. So when and how did you first start playing music?
Oh boy. So I started playing trumpet at the age of 11. So I've been playing for about 24 years. I'm 35 now, just turned in April. So I'm very happy to.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Nice.
Very happy to make another rotation around the sun. I joined band in the 6th grade, as like most people in the US do when they join the arts, when they do band. And I've been playing ever since.
What weapon? What
same thing.
Hey, we played too many.
What's your weapon specialization?
Which weapon did you?
We play some Monster Hunter together too. We play a lot of games together, but we play some Monster Hunter together too.
Sword
so
and
what weapon
shield
is fine?
You said you started playing trumpet in 6th grade?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that the only instrument that you play?
Proficiently, yes.
I like that. I don't think I play any proficiently. That's the same amount of time I've been doing Taekwondo. I started when I was about 10, and I'm 35 now. That's incredible. So
That's awesome.
Incredible. So let me riddle me this. What are some of your favorite non-video game based like bands / artists? Like what kind of music do you listen to that isn't video game music?
Gotcha. So I've been listening to a lot of electronic dance music because that's the career path I've shifted into. But some of my favorites are Avicii, Martin Garrix, Deadmau5. Love Andrew Bayer and Above and Beyond, Amy Wiles. They're like very, and the last three I mentioned are very like trance-centric artists. And I really got into that because of my best friend Theology. So that's pretty much what I've been rocking outside of video game music.
When your best friend Theology they are also an artist, or?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have not explained
Mac, you living under a rock?
I am. And in this realm, I am. Explain to me, please.
Yeah. So Theology is an amazing producer DJ. His real name is Matthew John Bentley.
You've been doxxed. No, I'm just kidding.
He has that information out there on the internet, so he doxed himself. But he's my best friend in the whole wide world. Lovely human. He performs video game music just like I do, but he's been doing it way longer than me. And before that, he was in the trance EDM scene. So a lot of his music is influenced by trance, and thus he got me into trance music.
That's very cool. Yeah, because I mean, I've only ever seen you play trumpet. And so I was going to get to, like what quarter sort of made you do this jump? And I guess that's the answer. So I'll cross that question off the list early. But anyhow, we'll get more into details of production later. I have a question for that. But I wanted to ask, how long have you been playing video games? And can you remember the very first video game you ever played?
Nice. Yes. I've been playing games for over 30 years. My first memory was of actually The Lion King from Sega Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a frustrating one, huh?
That was very frustrating as a kid, but it was something about that game made me so nostalgic. And then Sonic 2 is a close second. I'm pretty sure I put in The Lion King before I did Sonic 2. And I was obsessed with both games.
So so we're about the same age, and you just named Genesis games so how old would you say you must have been? Like,
I was about 4 or 5 when I first picked up a video game.
So it had to be like a sibling's console, is that right? Or something.
Right. So my brother owned the Super Nintendo. He also owned the Nintendo Entertainment System. And then we got a Sega Genesis. But when he went off to school, I should say when he got more involved in high school, he gave me the Sega Genesis because other consoles had come out by then. So I pretty much got the hand-me-down consoles, but the Sega Genesis became my baby. And I love that console so much.
Wow, there's an alternate world universe where that happens to me, but instead for us it went the other way, and I got the Nintendo in my room. This is, as we've discussed before, the Genesis was really meant to compete with the Nintendo,
right?
And not the SNES.
This is such a tale as old as time, because I feel like this is just our generation. That's how we got consoles. Like our siblings passed them down to us, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, right.
So funny. So here's a good one. Do you have a definitive favorite game? Ooh. Do you have a favorite game of all time?
Oh yeah.
What is it?
Hands down, Final Fantasy VII.
Wow.
Nice.
I can answer. Well, you were in a Final Fantasy VII based band, so that makes sense.
Yes. I based most things off of Final Fantasy VII because it's near and dear to my heart.
So, as far as video games go, what have you been playing lately? What kind of video games do you like to play in general?
Yeah.
Are you an RPG person? Shooters? What are we talking here?
Bomberman.
Oh yeah, straight up.
Do you exclusively
I've been playing Monster Hunter Wilds a lot, and
nice.
And occasionally I jump in with Bucku over there. I've been playing mostly with my good friend Ko though, and then I guess I really like JRPGs. That's really the thing that I just gravitate to, and also fighting games. Tekken is my favorite fighting game series, so I've been playing a lot of that.
Tekken 8. What you think?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Love it. Love it. It's
nice.
Great.
How do you feel about the latest?
I've also been playing a lot of. It's wild, man.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's wild. It's pretty awesome though. But and also on the retro side, I've been playing a lot of Bomberman 64 on stream. Very frustrating times.
But I'm watching her try to beat this first boss at the end of that world, and she was just like, "I suck at games. I suck at streaming. I quit." We're all like, "No, come on, you got this." She's like, "No, I don't." And then she beat it, and it was good. And got
that was me playing fucking what's that cowboy game on UFO 50? It's like, I fucking hate everything. I want to blow myself up with a bomb. I hate my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Magical.
So RPGs, you said are pretty much would you say that's your mainstay? Was Final Fantasy VII one of your first RPGs? Because if you have the Sega Genesis, or if you have the Genesis in your room, you play Lunar? Were there any Genesis?
That's like that Sega
RPGs?
CD. It would have been like Phantasy Star.
Right.
Really.
So I can't.
Yeah. It's interesting enough you mentioned that. First, I'll answer your first question. So, JRPGs, yeah, pretty much RPGs are like what I gravitate to the most. What I first played was Final Fantasy VII, which is what got me into JRPGs in the first place. Nice. I think if I had played some of those Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games, I would have been into that first. But because I was exposed to Final Fantasy VII first, that was my first experience with a JRPG, and it was an epic one too. So it
cool.
set the standard really high for me. But I believe the next question you asked there was, sorry, can you refresh my memory?
Did you have any Sega Genesis RPGs that you remember playing?
Yeah. So I went back later on to play Shining Force. Cool. I didn't initially have the game, but as I got more and more into building my retro catalog, I saw the cover art for Shining Force and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. I want to check that out. And it is one of my favorite retro JRPGs for sure.
We've talked about that before, that it was an availability thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think when I was really jamming on like Final Fantasy IV and Secret of Mana that I even knew that like Phantasy Star existed,
right?
Or I probably would have wanted to play those. When I learned about Lunar on the Sega CD, it was like right before Lunar 2 came out, so I got to play them like back to back. But if you couldn't find it nearby you, or they didn't have it at the Blockbuster near your house, then you couldn't play it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the not interacting with the Final Fantasy 4 and 6 is once again dovetails into the alternate universe, where it's just like, that is what happened to me. I had the Nintendo in my room. Buck found Final Fantasies 4 and 6, and then we never looked back. And then 7 came out, and we were like, "Oh, it's not the same." And we, obviously that game is fantastic, and we still loved it, but we were old school Final Fantasy heads.
7 was also my first like real JRPG, and it left such an impression on me.
Yeah, it's just so fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the storyline is so big and so much more mature and complicated than games were at that time, in my opinion.
And if you listen to the podcast, it took me 20 years to beat it.
Yeah,
had it. He played it. Could you finish it now?
This sort of leads nicely into my next question, which is, you were in a Final Fantasy VII, like, I'm hesitant to call it a cover band because you sort of put your own spins on the music because you have horns and all these other instruments. So tell me about your relationship to video game music, because if you played an instrument for 6 years, you could play probably any music that you wanted to. So why?
Absolutely.
What attracts you to video game music, I guess?
I think it's that nostalgia element, like when you're a kid, you're listening to these background music, like the BGMs. That's what we called them back in the day. Mm-hmm. Game music more so has become more integral in today's society, versus back then when the music was just meant to be background music. Yeah. Now it's a lot more forefront. It's even popularized by a lot of like big acts like 8-Bit Big Band, the Button Masher, guys that have won like Grammys for video game music covers. Yeah. I would say my relationship with video game music particularly, is nostalgia based. I love to cover stuff that made me happy as a child, and and I basically want to return that joy that I experienced as a child to other people, so that way they can also experience that nostalgic element, even if they've never played the game. I want them to feel what I felt, in that way.
Like that Wild Arms
so
whistle.
Cool. That's that's something that, like, when you make art in general, like I do a bit of visual arts, and what I'm trying to do when I draw something, or even when I do photography, I'm trying to convey what I saw in that moment to another person. And it's like you're trying to convey the nostalgia you felt in a way for someone who wouldn't have experienced that, or who couldn't have experienced that. That's
it
amazing.
elicits a feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because video games, you interact with them for so long sometimes.
Right.
Not just, you play a good Rolling Stones song and it's 3 minutes long and you're like, I love Brown Sugar. That's a great song. But it's just like, remember Final Fantasy VII? Yes, I played it for 50 hours. I remember it very well.
If you're going to play a Rolling Stones song, you play Paint It Black, and I just think of Twisted Metal
Black.
Yeah.
Right.
Such a good ad campaign. Yes. Final Fantasy in particular too, evoking the emotions and the memories of all the plots. It's like we talked about in the video game episode part 1 about how, like, You might go to an orchestrated version of a movie score because it makes you think about all the feelings that you had in the movie, because stories are super powerful and you can tell stories through music.
Yep.
Super badass. So let's get on to the album that you are making right now. So right now, you said you're hoping to get done around November. Tell us a little bit. I know we kind of already talked about it, but what is this album? Explain it to me.
Got it. I'm not going to tell the name because I haven't dropped the name yet, but what I will say is that it involves speed. And
okay,
and that's all I'm giving you about the name. So yeah, I'm remixing a vast majority of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Not the drug,
now
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
she was
getting
there. Yeah,
like,
I was getting there. Phrasing. Remember. So yeah, I'm remixing the vast majority of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 soundtrack. This album is going to be showcasing a variety of genres in the EDM persuasion, to include trance, house, electro swing, dubstep. There's going to be more. You might even hear some liquid drum and bass in there.
So that all those words confuse me. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie to you. And cameras and all that stuff. This
doesn't normally happen to me. Usually, I'm the one that says the confusing words on here. Okay, so explain to me the difference in the process when it comes to remixing versus, like, because obviously when you guys play your Final Fantasy music, I'm assuming you can look up what notes they are in the composition, and then you guys cover it in your own respective way. You make artistic decisions about when you're going to come in and when you're going to leave a song or do a solo. Yes, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
But in remixing electronic music, it's not as traditional as that, and you also don't have a blueprint as much. Like, what is the difference in the process like to you? Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So both have their pros and cons. What I love about remixing video game music is the sky's the limit. You, as a solo artist, like, I can focus on as many projects as I want to without having to rely on other people to put content out. When I was in the Limit Breakers, I did a variety of things to keep the band going for as long as it did. But performing live in a band setting versus being in the studio and remixing music, remixing music is exhilarating in one way, because once you get the form down, once you get the basic blueprint, because again, as you were saying about blueprints, there's not exactly a blueprint outside of the original music that you can base thing.
I'm sorry, did you say blueprints? Sorry.
Not blueprints, but blueprints.
Are you sure? I got my notebook right here. Are you sure?
I gotta go. I can't.
Sorry.
But playing the live band setting was exhilarating. I enjoyed it. But I'm glad that I'm moving forward with this solo thing as a DJ.
I imagine it'd be a lot more freeing to just get to say, like, how do I want to chop this up? And you're just kind of getting to take your own time. I don't know. I just imagine solo remixing music is a little bit more lax and you get more to play with versus trying to, like, learn the battle music to Final Fantasy VII. I feel like that would be very hard.
Right. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. My experience as someone who is a musician who knows how to read music and things like that, electronic dance music also has a form. It also has music theory behind it. There's structure there. There's 16 bars phrases, like 8-bar phrases.
Right.
Which a phrase is, like, you can think of that as like part of a sentence, a part of a musical sentence.
Yes.
A musical sentence would be, da, 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 da. That's a musical sentence. Phrase would be da, 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 da. That's a phrase, so it's just like a smaller part of the bigger picture. Whereas arranging for, like, say 7 or 8 people,
right. And those Final Fantasy compositions are not easy.
Parts.
It's
right.
Nobuo Uematsu going, like, you want some of this? Yeah, and I want some of these, and we'll get some of these in here. Like,
right. And you have to learn how to read. Well, not learn how to read the music, but you had to learn how to read the parts. Right. You have to extrapolate all of that information and then sometimes we would memorize our stuff, and sometimes we would be like, no, this is really complicated shit. We're going to bring sheet music on stage and just make our figure as small as possible while we can
read it.
and
now
read
instead
it
you're
as,
just like,
we're
fuck
playing.
it, let me get some Sonic 2 in here, I'm gonna chop that bitch up and make us party, let's go.
Yeah.
So here's a question: what video game has the best soundtrack of all time?
Oh,
damn, that's a loaded question.
That is a loaded question.
She's gonna say
I'm very biased. I am very biased when it comes to video game music. So honestly, I believe that the best video game music soundtrack of all time belongs to Final Fantasy VII for various reasons. It's further supported for me by the remake games. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to play the remakes, but the composers that they picked for doing the remakes music are actual orchestral composers that know structure very well. And so they do all of these various different musical techniques like inversions and reharmonization, which basically is taking a harmony that wasn't pre-existing in the song before and making it sound like it was there all along.
And
I like that.
That's cool.
It's
also,
really
they can
cool stuff.
Shred on the fucking guitar.
Yes, yes, they can.
Gnarly.
Yeah,
we spent quite a bit of time in 14 as well. Jisun did with us as well, and I think she spent more time listening to the music than she did actually progressing in the game.
Nice.
I sure did. I'm still stuck in Shadowbringers. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man,
I'm not gonna lie. You're stuck in like the best expansion, so no biggie.
Can I ask you?
I don't know about that. You keep saying that.
Can I ask you, Final Fantasy VII? What's your favorite track?
The main theme, hands down. It's so beautiful. It's so iconic. Very singable melodies, and the whole soundtrack just is incredibly memorable. I have plans to remix the whole Final Fantasy VII at some point, but I'm getting better at my production skills first before I tackle that project. Because it's going to take several years probably to get through all of the 7 soundtrack.
Speaking of your production skills, we do have a couple. You sent me a couple of the songs from the Sonic album.
Right, let's go.
Do you have a particular order you would like to listen to these in? We've got I don't want to spoil it. We've got Chemical Plant Zone and Emerald Hills Zone. Chemical Plant Zone is maybe my favorite video game song of all time.
It's pretty close, man.
We can listen to it whatever order you'd like.
All right.
Technically, Emerald comes before Chemical in the game and going to be on the soundtrack, but we can listen to this in whatever order.
Let's just listen to a couple seconds here. Let's listen to like 30 seconds. What are you using to do this?
Yeah.
So it's funny enough that you ask me that. A lot of people are shocked when I tell them I'm using the DAW Reaper to make this music.
That's why you're always in Reaper on Steam.
That is why. That is
I'm like,
why.
whatever this game is, she really likes it. She's playing it all the time. I was like,
man, I downloaded Reaper at one time because I wanted to try it out. I used it for all of 15 seconds before I gave the fuck up. That's amazing.
I love the DAW, because it's got a horizontal interface. I love the track layout. It just makes sense to my brain.
Mm-hmm. So are you downloading just the straight up songs and then augmenting? Are you like playing them on a MIDI controller or a little bit of both? Or
so you're gonna be blown away by this. I do everything by hand, and by what I mean by that, I basically I import MIDI data from like other people will make MIDI of those tracks, and I import the MIDI into my DAW. But then I basically say, okay, I want to keep this, I want to keep this, I want to get rid of this. And then I start augmenting things by myself by hand and in the MIDI editor. And then I just change rhythms, I change notes, I change patterns.
Right. Put
And then
effects, do
yeah,
EQing, stuff like this.
exactly.
Right, because I could tell what you were saying with the EDM vibe, because I was like, I'm not sure, but there's like, and you can feel
Yeah.
it like doing that
Wow,
waving
wow,
thing
wow,
that
Yeah,
dance
wow.
music
so
does. Yeah,
yeah, that's side chaining. So that
I know.
pumping sound.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I know. No, no. I was gonna say that. That's side
He
chaining.
he gets jiggy with it.
I
Okay,
did not.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
None of us has any idea what we're talking about in this regard. You're the expert here.
Oh, thank you.
I would
I
like
try.
to now listen to some of that Chemical Plant Zone, because
Oh,
now I'm
yes, let's
excited.
please
Yeah.
Ooh. Left out
wow.
some notes on purpose. I like it. I like it.
Oh, we're getting there, Buck.
Oh, I love it. No, I love that.
Damn.
Oh! Yeah.
We gotta get to the guitar solo.
This shit slaps.
This is amazing.
The best part of the song. Yeah. God damn. There's that guitar solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real like
Sound-
house music vibes. I don't know. Like
I can only really play the
French house,
trumpet.
Like I'm feeling there. Like it's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Damn. Well,
Yeah.
take your time with this one, because those two slap, and hopefully the rest of them will come out as funky
Okay.
as that shit.
Oh yeah.
God damn.
Damn. You got a
Boys.
Bandcamp or something, Jisun?
I gotta catch my breath.
I have a Spotify.
Oh, okay.
RNG,
Yeah.
RnJi. I also have a YouTube. RNG VGM. Chemical Plant is coming out, I believe, next week on Friday, or it's Friday the
that'll be
23rd. So it's one of those. But that is the next single that I'm dropping is Chemical Plant Zone.
Sick.
Yeah.
RNG, right?
RNG as an RnJi.
Yeah.
A play on my name,
Very good.
as you
And-
will.
And the invisible dice rolling in the background of all the video games that we love and hate so much.
Yeah.
Right,
If
exactly.
You're not in the know.
You know, roll a little RNG, you could get lucky.
Every once in a
Boys,
while
did
we-
you have any other questions you had for Jisun before we talk about the device used to make the very excellent music that she is remixing?
I'm gonna pretend to teach her something, and she's gonna already know all of it.
Right. So I while you were here, Jisun, and you're doing this this Sonic album, I was like, you know what? We love to get into the nitty gritty of the history of it all. With like I said, our first episode of music was about how did music get into video games in the first place. So I wanted to talk about the sound chip that is in the Sega Genesis, the thing that makes the music that we were just hearing, basically. So to get more on that, I should say, we are going to toss it over to our in-game historian, the Mega Buck, because he found some pretty kick-ass information about the Yamaha YM2612.
Even he had to learn a few things in this case too, because like
I
said, this week has been very profound and fun for me in researching some for this episode, because like I said, I really did play more Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and then even PlayStation 1 games than I did Genesis games. And most of the Genesis games that I got are the ones that were more readily available, that most of us had, and we didn't get access to these really cool games until we were older, like Jisun was talking about before, getting to go back and play Shining Force and listening to some of these soundtracks. Right. And so the Genesis has a sound chip in it, like Mac was alluding to, a Yamaha 2612, aka the OPN2, which I'll probably say that from now on because it's a little bit shorter. It was used in the Genesis and the Fujitsu FM Towns. If you've ever seen that PC, it was a Japanese-only PC. I actually got to see a couple in person on our last trip to Japan at a little shop called Beep that carries
that is
PCs
an incredible
and stuff.
name.
Yeah.
I love it. The store. Video game store. Beep is in a basement, and I found it by accident like
that
10 years ago.
Ass.
And I visit it every time because it's amazing. Awesome. They have lots of computer parts.
I just want to say,
PCBs there.
On this note, we talked about, again, the Sega Genesis competing with the NES. The sound chip in the NES is made by a company called Ricoh. Okay? The sound chip in the SNES is, I don't know. The sound chip in the SNES is made by Sony. The Sega Genesis went to Yamaha. Mm-hmm. You know, the guys that make the pianos, like, to make their sound chip for their fucking console. And I was talking to Raph, and I was like, it is such a pity that Sega is not around anymore. It's like, it reminds me of like when Rolls-Royce puts like a Swiss watch as their clock in their car. Like, you know what I mean? Like when one luxury brand teams up with another, like they had this console that's so much better looking than the NES. And guess what? We went to Yamaha to get the fucking sound chip. And it's not just a sound chip. It is an FM synthesizer. So it's not even like, it's like a step above. Like arcades have these things. We talked about FM synthesizers in our first episode when we talked about Marble Madness.
Right. David Wise.
Yes.
So this is not without its hitches, unfortunately. So one of the initial problems was that chip went into mass manufacturing for both those consoles and some other uses, and it had an inherent bug. Every single Sega Genesis game's sound had to be programmed around said bug.
Whoa, really?
So the Japanese developers got really good at this, and this is where this story gets really interesting. Most of the games that we obviously played as Americans were, especially back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, would have been more of the American publishers, right? And more of the American games. I'm talking about things like Earthworm Jim and, you know, Ah Real Monsters and Arrow the Acrobat and some of the other ones I mentioned before, like Tasmania and some of those, right?
You pulled some songs. If you want me to play them, just let me know.
Yep, give me just 1 second because I'm almost there.
Okay.
So the Japanese developers, the sound engineers in particular, they're Japanese, so they knew their shit, right? They knew their ins and outs. They knew how to program around not only this bug, but they know how to program and really give all these different sounds and styles to it. And so we're going to give you some examples here so you can understand and listen, because we're going to listen to what you're probably used to in Sega games, and we're going to listen to what all of us kind of missed out as kids. And if you go back and listen to those now, you're like, holy shit, with headphones on. That headphone jack on the Genesis, by the way, was there for a reason. We just didn't know it, because with headphones on, dear God, did these tracks slap. So here's what happened. It was so hard for the American sound composers. I'm looking at you, Tommy Tallarico, you lazy piece of, sorry, he'll sue me.
Get him.
They couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out how to program for it. They were having a hard time programming for this thing. So Sega outsourced to Brainware and Technopop to create a type of software to help them program for the Genesis, and that was called the GEMS, the Genesis Editor for Musical and Sound Effects.
Okay.
Piece of software that helped them to program for it in probably much closer to nowadays, you know, how you use for that, for like an online, a digital composer. You can actually download a newer version of that now and use it for music, in case you haven't checked that out yet, G. To help, see, she's all over it. She knows all this crap already. I'm not telling her anything she doesn't know. But so out of the just under 900 games for the Genesis, over 200 of them used the GEMS system to compose their music. If you know right away if a game was using GEMS, because that's where we got that twangy sound. All those Genesis games you played that had that kind of twang. If they were like that, that was the sound developer either being lazy or not understanding how to use it. So use this software to write the music instead, versus the awesome crunch you get.
Home Alone, I'm looking at you.
Home Alone, I'm looking at you.
Is this why a lot of Genesis games sound like they were composed by a sentient bouncy ball?
And by the same person? And by the same bouncy ball over and over again.
Yeah.
So
That's
not
very
that it's
good.
a bad game
Yeah.
and not that it's a bad soundtrack, but Mac, go ahead and play track number 1, and I'm going to give you an example of.
Give me the name.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't have them numbered.
This is that's okay. This would be from Comics Zone.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
17 bouncy ball. Yeah.
Oof. It's fucking rough.
Pretty obvious, right?
That sounds like one of those softwares that plays tabs.
You
like
mean
when you're trying to learn
shareware?
music,
One of
and
those sharewares that plays
tablature music, and then it'll play it for
Yes.
you. Sorry, continue.
No, but so we've all heard that before, right? And probably a lot of the games
my ears and soul.
And a lot of, as a kid though, they all pretty much sounded that way because we didn't get to play some of these games I'm going to mention. You've probably heard of now as a gamer collector, and if you like video games and you're listening to this podcast, you probably enjoy it. But you'd go, yeah, 12-year-old me had no freaking clue that Phantasy Star existed or Dragon Slayer existed or any of these kind of games, right? So now we're going to go on to what happens when a really good Japanese composer does this without the assistance of gems. Then we get Contra Hardcore.
Oh, this one. Yes.
Best way.
Yeah. I was listening to a lot of these tracks that Buck had sent earlier, and you're right. Like, when these guys know what they're doing, they're like, hey, guys, this bitch is a synthesizer in here. So you can
Right.
just make electronic music, and it'll do it. Like, it doesn't have to sound so bad.
Like, this is the sound of the 80s. Like, when I think
you
of, like,
hit the nail on the head,
80s
Raph.
music.
You know what these games are? You know what all these games sound like that were coming out of Japan? They sound like 80s anime.
They really do. Yeah, honestly.
We're gonna play a couple more tracks here in a
Yeah.
minute, but I noticed that right away. They were 80s anime. If you want to absorb, I didn't put these in here, but if you want to absorb some amazing tracks, go listen to Celios' Departure from Dragon Slayer. Go listen to the Sinking Sanctuary from Castlevania Bloodlines, and your mind will just melt listening to those. If the soundtrack was by Renovation or Technosoft, if that was the producer of the game, and you got one of those guys, your face will just melt. El Viento, Elemental, Master, some of the tracks from some of these, like I could have gone on, and I had, Mac knows, I had to pull this down to like 4 tracks. I had like 10 tracks for him to pull, and I was like,
I love when Buck does his homework.
It's crazy town.
Awesome.
So we're gonna give you a really great example, and Jisun's gonna love listening to this because we're gonna listen to some Yuzo Koshiro, and we're gonna listen to the intro screen from Streets of Rage 2.
Oh, so good.
Yes.
Just let it play.
Yeah. It's got one of the best drops. Incredible. Ridiculous.
This is from a video game, by the way.
It sounds like that. Sortez-moi.
That's what I was just thinking.
Enya. It's like
Enya, yeah. That's
Yeah, yeah.
exactly what I was just
This
thinking.
is the
That's
sound
amazing.
of the early 90s. So
This
good,
is-
dude.
You know, it's funny.
Streets of Rage is ridiculous.
All those soundtracks that I could have pulled. I mean, there were probably a dozen, and a lot of them though are like Jisun can attest to, are like dance house tracks. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh.
Actually-
Which I'm saying, the sound chip lends itself to it's already a synthesizer. Like, make dance music, and like when they take that angle, these soundtracks are killer.
You know, we
Right.
talked in the last music episode about like Ben Prunty and Eric Brown. So like this sounds a lot like Ben Prunty's work on like FTL. Like you hear the influence, in the modern day. It's wild.
That's atmospheric. Yeah, it gets that soundtrack gets crazy though. Like after that soundtrack.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right. Yeah. If I may add, Yuzo actually did study. He went into clubs in the 90s to get that music influence. And basically he stole a lot of material from that and made it the Streets of Rage
I bet.
soundtracks.
So
Though
good, so good.
when you get to Streets of Rage 3, the soundtrack takes another turn and becomes more industrial music.
It really does.
And like early beginnings of like what dubstep would sound like if it was on a Sega Genesis. It's really cool.
Wow. Sounds like he was listening to like some 9 Inch Nails or something and mixed the
Trent
two
Reznor.
together. He really did. He was listening to some Trent Reznor and it's so good. Anyway. But so you really start to get a feel for like what these composers could do with this when they were passionate about it. They knew what they were doing and they had a goal in mind for these things too, right? Most importantly, a lot of the RPGs and shmups for the Genesis have just absolutely banger soundtracks. But I'm going to maybe boggle your mind a little bit with what I consider to be one of the best soundtracks for the Sega Genesis. And it's none of those categories. And if you know what this game is, you can try and guess what genre it's in. If you already know what it is, Jisun, you might know this already, so don't throw it out there. I want these guys to guess what genre of game this is.
You got it.
This is Toshiaki Sakoda doing his soundtrack for Dragon's Fury, aka Devil Crash, aka Devil's Crush, a TurboGrafx 16. I know it has 3 names.
AKA Orange Crush.
I love it when they used to do that.
A TurboGrafx 16 game that was ported to the Genesis, and the soundtrack is pretty much 100% intact and absolutely amazing. That's the last track there. Table number 1.
This is easy. This is a golf game.
It keeps going. It keeps going. No. This song has like 5 movements in one. It's going to change again in another 30 seconds. Let it keep going a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer.
This is like either a racing game.
This is
like
a 7-minute long song.
See, just changed again. One more. It's got at least one more I want you to hear.
All right, you addict.
Dude, it's so good though.
Just one more, man. Just one more key change, and then we can go.
Okay, would you like to guess, Raph, what genre of game Dragon's Fury, aka Devil Crash, aka Devil's Crush is?
So like the 3 that popped in my head
sim.
was like either a racing game, a JRPG, or a fighting game.
Right. Mac?
It's obviously a Tetris-like clone.
Yeah. All puzzle games need to be really ramped up and get you excited, right?
It is clearly a game where you play as a young boy during summer vacation.
This soundtrack is so lauded that it's been re-released along with its cousin game, Alien Crush, on vinyl and was remastered and remixed by a Grammy Award-winning composer. That's right. It's the pinball game Devil Crash.
There you go.
All
See?
right.
I told you, a pinball game.
I
was going to say that. That was going to be my next
That's
guess.
wild. I did not know that, Buck.
I like the smoother, funkier stuff. Personally, out of all the stuff that Buck sent us to, I had to pull this. This is from Pebble Beach Golf.
Some of the sports ones are pretty good.
I love this.
That's nice. I could sip a Mai Tai. Hang out by the pool. Sunbathe.
Reminds me of some funky Japanese
Jazz
Yeah.
fusion.
Yeah, exactly.
That was really popular.
Jisun gets it. This is a Pebble Beach golf game. That's the menu screen. I was like, me like it.
There's some. I almost pulled you a track from like AWS Soccer 96, which has 1 or 2 banger tracks in it. There's some good stuff out there for the Genesis. We missed out on a lot of that just because I think it was accessibility.
Yeah.
We didn't know those games were there.
Well, was that the crescendo of your notes? The pinball game.
It was.
Yeah. Very good, sir.
So good.
I found that there was some interesting tidbits in there.
Yeah.
And that does it for our discussion on the Sega Genesis sound chip. And we're gonna hold on. What is this? Oh, I got a note here from the head of the production studio. What's that? You said it's time for another episode of Say It With Me, video game Name That That's right. Hi, I'm Hollywood Max Side, and welcome to Video Game Name That Ugg, the only game show inside of this podcast where my co-hosts try to guess what video games these Uggs are from. Gentlemen, are you ready to guess some Uggs?
No, I want Jisun on my team too.
Oh, you're all on a team. To clarify, to play video game Name That Ugg, Jisun, I'm going to play you a sound effect from a video game. It's going to be someone ugging. I'll give you a hint. All of today's games are Sega Genesis games.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
I don't know about that.
Well, Venny would be no help unless it was a Sega CD game. So
we'll see how it goes.
Let's hope
So
you guys can drag my
production.
dead weight around.
The way we win, all you have to do is get 3 out of 5 of the answers correct in order to win. Last time we played, we won with a resounding score of 4 out of 5.
we crushed it.
Very good. So, production, why don't we cue up that first Ugg?
Oh, no.
All right, get those listening ears ready. These ones are short.
That is
Sonic
the death.
drowning.
That's
Yeah.
the drowning sound from Sonic.
See, I told you I brought a partner.
From Sonic.
That's right. That is Sonic drowning to death. I can only assume that sound is his last scream of life before he's suffocated into the infinite beyond.
It also made Brad very, very afraid of the water as a child.
That's right. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah,
Let's
that
move
song
on.
gives a lot of anxiety.
To our second sound. Production, can you
Okay.
cue up our second sound, please?
Youch.
Damn, guys,
60
I got
seconds on the
nothing.
clock.
Is that we have a clock now? Shit.
60 seconds on the clock.
Is that an animal or a female? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Let me answer your question with this.
Youch.
Yeah. Let me see.
Female animal.
58 seconds.
Is it a Genesis? Can we ask any questions? No,
They're
that's
all
not-
Genesis games. I
But
said
is
that
it
at the very
Genesis
beginning.
exclusive?
Yes. Yes. I didn't do enough research. You're
Yeah.
running out of time.
I don't know this.
You
one.
have
Is that-
5 seconds.
Is that a Streets of Rage like power moves like Blaze doing a power move or an attack or something?
that's a
from
good
Streets
choice.
of Rage?
Oh,
They get half a point if he gets the game right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That
Damn.
is Toe Jam from Toe Jam and Earl.
I never played Toe Jam.
Damn.
Oh, your Sega Genesis brethren may be upset by that.
Yeah, I
Macaulay
know.
Culkin is crying right now.
Probably.
Let's move on to our third sound. We're 1-1. Let's cue up that third sound, production.
That's just a guy screaming now.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Raph.
Oh,
That's a
it
lot of help.
is just a
It's just a
guy
guy.
screaming, isn't it, Raph? 30 seconds on the clock.
Oh boy.
Somebody getting
Yes,
hit.
they're all guys
It's a-
screaming.
It is somebody
it's-
getting hit.
Somebody getting hit in what game?
Just no.
I feel like I wish this was Werewords where I could ask 5 questions or something. Like,
Is
it
this
a
from
beat 'em up?
Earthworm Jim or something? I don't know.
No, that's not Earthworm. He would go, "Ow!" That's Earthworm
Yeah, he
Jim.
would.
Is it from Gunstar Heroes?
Oh.
5 seconds. It's not Gunstar Heroes.
No, yeah, I don't know. this
Sunset
one.
Riders.
Not Sunset Riders.
Got me on this one.
Help me out,
I'm
team.
so
Help me out, team.
sorry. That would be Aladdin. The Sega Genesis part
dirty
of
bastard.
Aladdin.
Fuck that game, first of all. Second of all.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Second of
Alright.
all, I never played that game either.
You guys got to clear the board in order to obtain victory today. We have
We can
2
do that.
more.
We can
All
do that.
right?
Yeah, we can
Let's
do that.
move on to
Aladdin.
sound
Stupid Aladdin.
number 4.
Oh. Oh shit.
someone ugging. This is someone being hit by something.
Damn it, I do know this one.
So much of a Genesis fan I am.
Super Turrican?
Nope.
It's not from Contra Hardcore.
Is that the sound from Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
It's something getting hit, but there's like an explosion to it because
Right.
there's
Yeah.
a vehicle
15
involved.
seconds.
I don't think we're gonna win this, guys.
No,
I'm
I don't
sorry.
think so.
Oh
either.
man.
I hear like a pew.
Dude, it is right in front of my. It's on the tip of my tongue.
It is.
Yeah,
5 seconds.
One more time. That's Gunstar Heroes.
It's
No,
not Gunstar Heroes.
Man,
I
that's
am
really
so sorry. That is Vector Man dying.
shit! Damn it!
I
I
knew it was
recognized
something
that.
that had a
Yeah.
robot attached to it that was
Sorry,
dying.
I'm so
I had that.
sorry.
Oh man, gosh.
Do you want to?
We literally heard
wanna
this one during the
hear the
watch-alongs.
fifth sound?
I do for double
Yeah,
points, so we
yeah.
have a
All
chance.
right. If
Yeah.
you know what, if you can get this one, I'll give you double points and I'll give you
See.
the victory because
There you
this
go.
one is damn near impossible, and that's why I
no.
saved it for
All
last.
right.
Ready?
No.
Oh, come on.
You're a dick.
I love being the producer.
That's somebody getting hit.
Yes.
That's an UG.
From a
That's a
Sega
very
Genesis
tiny
game.
little ugh.
What
From a
UGs like
Sega
that?
Genesis
Is that
game.
Flicky?
Not
That's a
Flicky.
good guess. Echo the Dolphin.
That is
Echo
Echo
the-
the
Oh,
Dolphin.
yes!
You win another amazing episode of Video Game Name That UG. Our contestants are going away today with a fantastic Super Nintendo Entertainment System, as well as an all-expense paid trip to work their own jobs. Thank you so much for playing. I'll see you next time on Video Game Name That UG.
Damn, you came in clutch on that one, Buck.
Really good
Yes.
job.
That was
Really
amazing.
good job. All right, now
Good
we're
shit,
actually
man.
going to take our break.
Feels good, man.
When we come back, we will go ahead and do our What Else You Got and just go ahead and end this episode. We'll see you on the other side. Okay, we're back, and we hate Vector Man. No, I'm just kidding. We're back, and it's time for our What Else You Got, the segment of our show we can bring to the table anything, be it video game or otherwise. I will go first, as usual. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't really get to play many new games this week, but I did start a multiplayer game with my girlfriend of Baldur's Gate 3 because
Cool.
the patch 8 has the crossplay. So I finally have had this copy. If you've listened to the podcast, you heard me complain that the Xbox S or whatever didn't have the multiplayer split screen. So now we're finally getting to play, and it's really funny to watch her make choices. She meets a Stereon, and when you meet a Stereon, he like jumps you and holds a knife to you. And he was like, "Oh, hey, I'm like sorry about that." And then she was just like, "Fuck you," and then just like left, and he's just like walking around. She just ignored him completely. I was like, "You don't want to talk to him?" And she was like, "Hell no, fuck that guy. He fucking pulled a knife on me." I was like, "Honestly, I agree. Let's
That's
go."
fair.
And
Fair
I just let her walk on by. It's really fun.
The
And the only other thing I really did is I went and saw the movie Sinners with
Okay.
Michael
Oh,
B.
how
Jordan.
was that?
And it was
Shit.
really fucking good.
Damn,
Yeah, it's made by Ryan Coogler, the guy that did Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I think.
Cool.
And it's got Michael B. Jordan in it, and he kicks ass, and he plays two people, a la the Nutty Professor or whatever,
Yeah, he plays
but in
his
a good
twin.
way because he's a good actor. So I would recommend going and seeing it. I
He's a good
ate a
actor.
bunch of popcorn and had a tummy ache because I was having such a good time. I didn't realize how much popcorn I was eating. I
That's
did. It was
amazing.
on my birthday. I ate a bunch of popcorn and then spent the rest of the day on the couch with a heating pad on my stomach.
Well, happy belated.
Thank you. But yeah, Sinners. I went and saw it and I liked
yeah.
it.
That's nice.
Buck, what else do you have for us this week?
I have a confession to make. We got a key from a developer for another indie game to play,
Ah,
and I didn't tell any of you guys, and I just stole it for myself this
All
time.
right.
ah.
I'm
Good.
normally the generous guy. I normally throw it out there for anybody in the crew to grab it. But when I saw Midnight Special, I fell in love.
Okay, go. What is it?
Midnight Special is what if Clock Tower was a Giallo game?
Isn't it kind of already a job? Oh, wait, go on.
Midnight Special by Scared Stupid Inc. and written by, I think, this couple that's done it. There's a demo out. You can play it. It's in early act. What do they call it on Steam? Yeah, early access in that where you can check it out. But I got a fuller build, a more full build, more than just the demo. And it is a point and click adventure like Clock Tower, with some really great scary music and some absolutely terrifying. There's a moment that I thought would be a spoiler, but he put it in the trailer when you find the bodies of the children that you've been searching for, and it's just, there's some absolutely terrifying Clock Tower like moments in this game.
This be looking like Clock Tower.
So it's an early access. It is the definition of what an early access game I feel like should be. It's not completed. They're very upfront about that it's still a work in progress. The funny thing about this game is it's very polished for like the graphics and the style and the way that it's drawn out. The parts that still need to be fixed really are like a lot of the code, like the menus have bugs and items disappear and reappear in your inventory. Because again, really early access game. If that doesn't bother you and you want to follow along with the game development that is just absolutely gorgeous and has been so terrifying to play the first hour or so, go check this out, download the demo and help these guys along, and I don't know if you can buy it yet or not, but it was really cool of them to send this to me. I'm really sorry that I withheld it from you, Raph, but I wanted to play this.
No, I know it's all good. This looks hella cool though. Like this is definitely one that's up my alley. I'm excited to play this once it comes out.
I think me and Mac have the family share, so maybe he has the family share of it on there with me to play on there. Oh man, it's just it scratches all those itches so far. I haven't gotten super far because I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten stuck a couple of times, I think because of bugs with the game. But like I said, I understand where it's at and I'm okay with that. And I wanna do that and play some more. I mean,
we're moving up in the world if we're getting
this is
a
real one. Yeah, I like it a lot. But it's got a lot of that old point and click style of like, go and do this and then unscrew the head of this statue and find this note and then take it to here. It's a puzzle and then find the candle and
nice.
Ooh, it's a good one.
Raph, what else have you got for us this week, sir?
Got a couple of cool things here. So actually, thanks to the Megabuck, the other day you reminded me about a game that was on my radar a while back and that I kind of forgot about. But I played the demo for Holston, or at least the first part of the demo for Holston. Cool. This is a psychological horror game, survival horror game set in an eerie, isolated 90s Polish town, and it's got this really cool thing going on where like it's isometric, but then when you aim your weapon it goes poof into like a first person view,
like Resident Evil Survivor.
Right, exactly.
Like Gun Survivor.
It was a lot of fun.
The first person view is like still 2D.
It is, yeah.
Art style, even though it's like a 3-dimensional plane. That's really fucking cool.
I haven't had a chance to play through the combat because there's two parts of this demo. There's like a puzzle section and then a section to actually try out the combat. I actually spent a long time messing around with the puzzles and I was like, this is kind of cool. Like there was a whole environmental puzzle going on with the lights, something about this weird fungus that is in this house. Like the lights kill it. And so you got to kind of like rearrange the lights in the house to try to get rid of the fungus so you can get to the point where you're actually trying to get to. Really cool stuff. I can't wait.
The whole house is a puzzle.
Yeah, the whole house is like one big puzzle in this one. Yeah,
kind of neat. Yeah,
That's neat. I can't wait to try out the combat for this one because I'm really, that whole concept of going into first person seems really cool. I did that, and then also this weekend I played a game, guys. I played a game that I got to play as Marvel superheroes. I got to play as Thor. I got to play as Wolverine. You might think I'm talking about Marvel Rivals, and I'm not. I hooked up my fucking PS2, and I played Ultimate Alliance the other day.
Hell yeah.
This game kicks ass.
Yes, the first one.
Oh, I've got both of them. I got both of them, baby.
Oh, no. They made a third one for the Switch.
I never played the third one. But yeah, I have the first two. I love this game. This is like one of my favorite games, like growing up. It was just like, I had a lot of fun with this first one.
We played the fuck out of that game in our house. Or
yeah,
Buck
dude.
was in college, I think, at that point.
What's that?
When Buck was in college, we played the shit out of that game.
It's like
Sorry.
it's like Gauntlet Legends.
I cannot curse enough.
It's like Gauntlet
shit.
Legends, but like with Marvel superheroes. I forgot how much fun I had with this thing. I've been messing around with the PS2 back there. I hooked it up, that little TV back there that I have like right next to my bed, and I've been playing Silent Hill 2 and Ultimate Alliance.
For like
what year is it? Yeah.
Silent
Hill 2 in bed. Let's go. I got homework tomorrow.
Silent Hill 2 there. I've got my NES on that same tiny little screen there, so I can go back and forth and play all the old school shit. I've got like a nice setup going on here now.
Hell yeah,
But
dude.
yeah,
Finally.
I mean that's what I got this week. I played some old ass games, I played some new ass games, and I had a fun time.
I love that. Jisun, you got anything else? Anything fun you've been doing recently?
Well, just been pretty much producing behind the scenes. I've got a couple in the queue. I've already started to accumulate a backlog, which is really cool. Got some collaborators in the shoot to work with me on the Sonic 2 remix album, but also other projects as well. Might have a Space Harriers cover I'm working on remix
Wow.
with a good friend of mine. And I've been working towards my very first DJ gig, which I can't announce yet because I haven't been announced. But as soon as I'm announced, I will let people know what that is. But it's pretty big deal, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. I've been practicing my DJ set for the past like several days now, so I'm looking forward to uh, getting out there and entertaining a bunch of nerds and making them dance on the dance floor.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Riddle me this. Have you seen Claire Obscure? You like JRPGs?
Oh,
I
I
saw
have
you
seen
playing it
it.
today.
I have seen it. I have not played it yet though, but it is on my wish list.
That's the
started
only
playing
thing
it
I've
today.
been playing, and that shit is getting
I
better
started it
and
today.
better
It
every
is
day. I
amazing.
cannot wait to be done. It is so good.
Dude.
But yeah, that does it for the end of our show. Thank you so much for listening and listening and watching, dear Brad and Bradettes out there. Do us a huge favor, like and subscribe. If you are just listening to this, don't forget that this is a video podcast. You can pull it out of your pocket and look at it, look at our faces, and look at the videos that I put on top of there. And Raph just did a Kevin from Home Alone. You could watch him do that. You can reach out to us via email with any questions, comments, or games you want us to play. We got some kick-ass games today at gametreasurepodcast@gmail.com. You can head on over to our link tree at linktree/the GTP, where you can buy our merch. We got shirts, we got mugs, and also you'll find our Patreon there, patreon.com/the GTP. You can subscribe for $5 a month and get access to our UFO 50 bonus episodes, of which I am editing the fourth one right now.
Ooh,
And
one of
then
the
we
really
have
good rows.
two more episodes to go. Two, you say? Oh, how could there be two if you're doing 10 games at a time? Wouldn't you like to know? Spend $5 to find out now. Don't forget that you can spend you can spend $5 and then listen to all the episodes once they've all come out, and then you could just unsubscribe, and that's fine. You have just given us $5, and I like that about you. Finally, you can. We'd like to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, "Clash of the Droids." You can find them on Apple Nope. You can find them on Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you can find music on the internet, pretty much. And last but not least, of course, we would like to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, owned and operated by the Megabuck himself. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that takes the hassle out of collecting video games, specifically retro video games. No more hunting, no more guessing, and no more wasted time. Instead, Retro Game Treasure subscribers select from a wide range of consoles and gaming genres to collect for, and then those games come to you in a curated box every single month. They even keep track of all the games in your collection so that you never get a repeat game. Want to start collecting a new console? That is no problem because you can head on over to their console shop page, where whether you're a member or not, you can get great deals on new and refurbished consoles and accessories. Then if you are a member, you just go over to your profile page, select that new console, and then boom, games for that console start coming in your box. You don't have to go to the game store and then get your copy of what's the Game Boy Zelda game, and then you get it home and this is broken, don't work. Fuck. Now you gotta go back to the store, and when's the next time you could do that? Because you gotta go to work. Now you gotta explain to your girlfriend why you gotta go to the video game store a second time this week to return the game. Instead, just take it. Just do yourself a favor. Start collecting video games the easy way today with Retro Game Treasure. GameTrailer.com. Buck, hit me with your list of this week's subscribers.
This week we welcome Joshua Taylor, Sean Bales, David McLeod, Michael Foster, Jennifer Rose, Kiefer Birch, Lucas Gray, Alexander Kuntzel, and Raphael Wu.
Jisun, have you ever seen the movie The Wizard where they play Super Mario?
Yes, I have.
All right, this is how we end the show. My name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
You got it.